I was giving off the appearance that I had a lot of money and that I was well off and that I was organized. And it's a good thing that she didn't marry for my money or she would have left me a long time ago.
Welcome to the Get Your Marriage On podcast. I'm your host, Dan Purcell, a sex and intimacy coach for married couples. My mission is to help you build and maintain a sexually vibrant and emotionally intimate marriage. Join me each week as we explore principles and practical tools based on Christian values to create the passionate, joyful, and thriving marriage you're designed to have. As pretty much any couple, myself included, can attest, money troubles are never fun in a marriage. In fact, the way you handle money as a couple is a sign of how you relate in many other areas to things in your relationship too, including sexual intimacy. Today I have a special guest, Dan Ockey. He and his wife have an amazing story, and I want to bring them on to talk about financial intimacy. It's an area I don't cover much on the podcast, but I believe their message is powerful and definitely something I want my listeners to listen to. And it's this: your money problems and the way you overcome them as a couple are there to strengthen your relationship together. And so I hope by the end of this episode, you walk away with a new perspective on how you handle finances in your marriage, and maybe even start working on a budget together, or maybe with Dan's company too. Before we get into it, a quick announcement. Our in-person retreat has sold out. Yes, the one in April 2026, all the spots are taken. But there might be a last-minute opening if someone can't come last minute. So if you're still interested in coming, apply anyway, and that'll serve as our waiting list. We look forward to doing another in-person couples retreat in 2027, and you're welcome to apply for that too. But that's not all. We are doing a thing we've never done before, and it is a cruise. We're doing a Get Your Marriage On cruise. It's limited to just a small group of couples, and we sail in October 2026. And this is our couples that want to do a deep dive into sexual intimacy in their marriage, and it's going to be just fun. Come vacation with us. Come cruise with us. You'll get to meet me. You get to work with my team. We're bringing on a boudoir photographer. We're going to have classes and sessions all about deepening intimacy in your marriage on our sailing days too. So this cruise is a great opportunity for any couple that want to deepen intimacy and bring more eros energy. That's that life-giving, fun-filled energy in their sexual relationship, intimate relationship. That's what this cruise is for. You'll find those details at getyourmarriageon.com and click events, and you'll see the option for the cruise there. It's not every day I get to welcome Dan to my podcast. Dan, welcome. It's fun to have someone that shares my name. How are you today?
I'm doing great. We're double Dan trouble today, man. It's good to see you.
That's
Thanks for
right.
having me on.
Funny anecdote. My best friend in high school, his name was also Dan, and we did everything together. So we were the Dan and Dan team, and it was pretty fun.
That's awesome. That is a rare situation. Did you go by I'm just curious, did you go by your last names? How did people tell you apart?
Yeah, I got all sorts of nicknames, and he didn't. I don't know how that happened, but
It was you got
that's
the
the way it
nicknames he
was.
did. So he was Dan, you were everything else.
Yes, exactly.
That's awesome.
All right. So I'm really excited to talk about today's topic, and we're talking about money. And I understand this is something a little bit different than what we usually talk about, but I promise by the end of the episode, I think our listeners are going to hopefully make this connection that getting on the same page with money matters has a lot of parallels with getting on the same page in the bedroom also. So let's dive in. And Dan, I am so happy to have you on the podcast because you have a really awesome story about how you've arrived to where you have and through your marriage and everything. Let's start there. What was it like months before you met your wife and you're getting ready for marriage?
I was broke and lying to my wife. So that's a great place to start the conversation.
All right.
So when I got married, we got married relatively young. I was 23, she was 21. I was running a digital marketing company, and when we were dating, I was giving off the appearance that I had a lot of money and that I was well off and that I was organized. And it's a good thing that she didn't marry for my money or she would have left me a long time ago. But
Uh-huh.
when we were dating, what was on the outside was not true of what was happening on the inside. And what the inside was is I was using debt to finance my whole lifestyle. I was
Mm.
racking up credit card debt. I was finding creative ways to take out student loans because we were still in college to be able to get what felt like free money. I was not doing good things. And I went from being on track to graduate college with no debt to putting on about 20 grand of debt in about just 3 to 6 months of just behavior. So this was debt that was totally avoidable, but was completely, I didn't need to take this out for school, but I did to fund my lifestyle. And that was credit
Oh,
card debt,
wow.
student loan debt, things like that. So through this time, I'm dating my wife. We're having a great time. We're eating out all the time. I'm tipping extravagantly. I'm paying for everybody's meals. I'm giving off this appearance that I am a wealthy young 20-year-old. And it was
Yeah,
a
you're
complete sham.
impressive. Uh-huh.
I was impressive to the waiter and waitress, I guess,
Well,
in my head, but yeah, I was a complete sham. It was a complete lie, and nobody knew but me. And so,
uh-huh.
um, we get engaged, and a few weeks before our wedding, my
Uh-huh.
smart wife, daughter of an accountant, says, I'm about to, join my life to yours. Maybe I should know a little bit more about your money situation." And I was terrified. I did not want to
Uh-huh.
talk about that. So she says, "Dan, how much debt do you have?" And
Uh-huh.
the truth was, I had no idea how much debt I was in. I didn't know the number, nor did I care.
Right. We have this tendency, right? We don't wanna see what we don't wanna see. We we sweep things under the rug. We keep things in the dark because we don't wanna know what's there. It's like the junk drawer in the kitchen. We just don't know what's there, so we kinda leave it alone.
Totally, and I was afraid that she would judge me or not want to marry me if she knew what was really happening. And so she went and got a notebook when she realized I didn't know the answer, and brought me a pen. She said, "I don't want you to get off this couch until you know exactly how much debt you're in." And I went and looked everything up and opened that drawer per se, and I saw the number, and it was over $20,000. And my heart sank because I realized, a few months ago, I didn't know anybody any money. And um, even with that realization, I still wasn't planning on changing because in my mind, I was going to make all this money and we were going to figure this out. And I wouldn't have to worry about money management or debt or any of these things. So,
Right, right.
so she didn't know that was my mentality. She just knew, oh, $20,000 of debt. That's not terrible, terrible. We'll deal with this after we get married and go from there. Great plan. So we end up getting married. It's a great wedding, great honeymoon, and then we settle into our new apartment. And Kay's like, "All right, so let's make a budget." And I said, "Gesundheit." And I did not,
Bless you.
I did not, yeah, I did not want to go there. But she's my better half, and she kind of forced the issue. And in that conversation, she realized the full extent. And in the first week of our new marriage, she realized her new husband was living a facade and that we didn't have any money and we didn't have any income. And we were living off of debt right from the get go.
Oh, so that's a shock.
Yes. It's a betrayal of trust right off the bat, right? For her.
Right.
And so for the next, I wish I could say that right at that moment I decided to change, but I was still stubborn. And for the next few months, it was an argument every single day about money and resources and what I was going to do and how we were going to provide. And it was terrible. And
Right.
I just didn't, it got to the point, is this going to work? Are we going to be able to make this work?
Looking back, why is it that you didn't wanna address the money issue then? What was going on inside?
Because it was an admission that I didn't know what I was doing. It was an admission, I think, that my plan, my way wasn't right. That
Mhm.
um, I, I wanted to be enough. I wanted to be able to have all the answers. It was maybe just being a little bit prideful, I guess.
Mhm.
And by saying, "Okay, we'll do a budget. We'll work on this together." It was basically admitting that all the decisions I had been making were wrong,
Yeah.
and that was I wasn't willing to do that. I wasn't willing to say
Right.
I'm wrong, or I need help. I'm wrong, or I need help, or I don't know what I'm doing. Just this is admission that I didn't have it all figured out. So
Mhm.
after one particular painful argument, I'd walk out of our apartment, slam the door, and go on a walk. And I'm just thinking, and I'm just, I'm being humble a little bit. And I'm just like, all right, maybe I need to, you know, clearly my marriage isn't working. So, maybe the problem's me.
Uh-huh.
Not
Didn't your
maybe it's
wife, like,
not
lock
her.
you out or something too? Like
No, no, she didn't lock me out. I
Okay.
just left. I just left.
Uh-huh.
It was me. And
Right, right.
I
Mhm.
am thinking, and a thought came into my head that was, hopefully divine, probably divine. And the thought was, do your money beliefs matter more than her and your relationship with her.
Hmm.
And
Like, do you want to be
uh,
married or do you want to be right? Kind of an idea.
and I was, I was on track to be neither. um, and so, and so I thought to myself, sincerely, truly, if it comes down to it, I want to be with her. I'm willing to sacrifice whatever I think I know about money to come together with my wife on this. So I got a text
Hmm.
message that said, "You can come back to the house now." And I came
Uh-huh.
back, and at that moment I said, "Okay, I don't know what to do. I don't know where we start. I don't know how to talk about this. There's still things that you say and think that really bother me, but I'm willing to try. I'm willing to learn. And let's figure this out." So that was great, but we didn't know what to do next. So we did the next most logical thing in our situation of no income and mounting debt, and we went on vacation.
Woohoo!
Um, it was the logical next step.
Of course.
That's right. So
Spend
we
more.
went to
Uh-huh.
spend more money. This is the solution to everything. So we went on a trip to California, and our friends were getting married. And on that trip, we met a couple that was hosting us, and they were wealthy, they were successful, they'd built and sold a business, and they just seemed like they were a team, and they were like everything we wanted to be in 30 years. And we said, you know, where do we start? We kind of explained our situation. What do we do? Where do we go with money? And they said two things that removed a lot of shame for me that I try to tell people every chance I get, which I'm about to tell you, which is the first thing is just because you're an adult doesn't mean you know how to money. And
That's good. Just because you're an adult doesn't mean you know how to money. Right.
it's the same with the bedroom. Just because you're an adult doesn't mean necessarily you know how to have sex in that
That's
way. I
right.
mean, yeah,
Uh-huh.
this is a skill that has to be learned, and it can be learned, but we have to learn. We've had to learn everything on this point up into our lives. Money is no different, but for some reason we have this expectation that we'll just have it all figured out. And I was like, oh, I can learn this, and I shouldn't expect that I'm going to know everything from the get go. And that was really helpful. The second thing they said is a third party system or a third party person who can help you go from your way and your partner's way to y'all's way that you can come together on is what they said was the secret for them. It's just
Okay.
it's not my ideas versus your ideas. It's a system we can come together to work on that we're now working together through this and we become a team to move forward. And we said, great. Who's the system? What third party do we go on? And they said, well, Dave Ramsey. And I said, Dave Ramsey is the last person I want to listen to or talk about at all. I hate that guy. I don't even know him, and I hate that guy. Uh, but we were broke and we had nowhere else to go. So
Uh-huh.
we downloaded his book on the way home and we listened to the whole thing. And on a napkin, we wrote out our first financial plan. We said, okay, we're going to get out of debt. We're going to do what it takes. We're going to do the hard work. And that was our first step. And
Mhm.
we started to get to work, and we thought it was going to take us about 2 years to dig us out of this hole that I had put us in. And
Uh-huh.
we were still finishing our degrees at the same time. So that was even, lofty. Um,
Right, you're college students. That puts it in context. Yes.
right. Right. So we get to work and we start trying to budget and do things Dave Ramsey's way. And I have nothing against Dave still to this day, even if my initial outlook wasn't uh, positive. But
Uh-huh.
he's done a lot of good. But I found some of the tools that he offered us to move forward didn't work for us. An envelope budget, a zero-based budget, making a new budget every month, we didn't stick with that. And
Uh-huh.
just some other things that we wanted to do that he would have said not to. So we ended up realizing there's a lot of people who've written about money. It's not just Dave Ramsey. So we started to read every money book we could get our hands on. We started to ask
Uh-huh.
our friends, who's the most successful person you know with money that's still married? And
Uh-huh.
we went and interviewed them, and we learned from them, and we read entire financial blogs. And through this process, we started to realize that we needed a system for managing money in addition to what had been initially taught to us. And we started to develop our own tools, and we took on extra jobs and we worked. And 6 months later, we were completely debt free
That's
as college students.
amazing. So instead of 2 years, it took 6 months.
At, as college students, and I don't want to make this
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't wanna make this sound like it wasn't work and we magically waved a magic wand. There are no quick fixes. I
Uh-uh.
scrubbed a lot of toilets at 4 a.m. to be able to do that. But,
Right, and I also, Kay woke up at, like, 4 or 5 AM to teach English to, Chinese students and, like, all these different opportunities that you could find to make things work, from what I understand.
anything we
It's
could
just
do. That's correct.
yeah, but you're committed together. That's the magic of it.
That was the magic of it. So we accomplished this goal. We go to the bank to pay our last payment. We have a dollar, I think 25 in our bank account, and we feel like a king and queen. Like, what is
Uh-huh.
this? We have no money, but we're looking at each other and we're like, we can do anything. Like we just
Yeah.
did this. We can build anything together. We are a team. And
Uh-huh.
that has blessed our marriage over the past 8
Mhm.
years, probably more than anything else.
Yeah. If we can overcome this, bring it on. We can do anything. That's great. Yeah.
Yep, yep.
So I'm really curious, Dan.
Yeah.
Then what happens? So you pay off the debt, you're nearing graduation in college, you're feeling like a king. You can't keep it to yourself, I'm assuming. How do you help others, or what was the next step?
Yeah, so again, no intention of starting a business around this. We didn't pay off our debt so we could go teach other people how to pay off debt.
Uh-huh.
We or run their money. That was not even a thought in our minds. We thought we were the only ones struggling with money. We felt like it
Uh-huh.
was just us. Very naive.
Uh-huh.
And we wrote, so we were so excited. We wrote a blog article. And it didn't go viral, but it got a lot of attention, and we posted it, and all of a sudden, our friends and our family and people we didn't even know started reaching out and saying, "How did you do this? What did you do?
Uh-huh.
What are these tools that you're talking about?" And we said, "Oh, yeah, we're happy to share." We started inviting people over to our apartment, the living room, and started teaching them.
Uh-huh.
And then we developed a full course, and I sold my entire team at work, and they all came over to my apartment after work, and we taught them about money. I did that 2 times with different teams.
Nice.
And then we, uh, then we started teaching people over the internet across the country, and it just started growing from there, and then we started to see that if people had a third-party coach who helped them, that would help them get more results. And now, 8 years later, we're 26 coaches in, 1,400 clients, and I've worked with every situation you can possibly imagine. So it's really cool to see how it's just snowballed from there.
That's cool, and I know a little bit about your offering because you work primarily with just married couples, I think, because you want both people on the same page, but what you're doing is far more than just teaching money management skills. You're trying to help couples with their intimate relationship, especially around finances too.
100%, because that same feeling of, we had it with the $1.25, but as a king and queen, that affects every area of your relationship. It affects the
Uh-huh,
bedroom. It affects the trust. It affects what you're able to go and accomplish together. And if you with your partner can have that trust and confidence around money, it's going to roll over to every other area of your relationship.
great. Okay, I wanna know more about how you help couples with their relationship dynamic when it comes to money. Like, yes, anyone can read a book, they can, listen to a podcast or download a budget app or, start things on a spreadsheet. But that doesn't solve money problems because there's so much stuff going in the relationship under the surface that needs to be
Yeah.
addressed. How do you help couples that are like politicking about money inside the marriage?
Well, money's the easiest thing to politic about, right? The Amazon
Uh-huh.
package shows up you didn't order and you're like, "What the heck?" And so, you know, it could be a lot of different things. The main solution to politicking and the constant, in a lot of ways, it's unresolved trust and communication that manifests itself when we politic about money in our relationship. But it's having a joint agreement together, a system of how we're going to manage our money. And while that does include, technology and how we track things and how we do a spreadsheet, it also includes how we're going to communicate about this. It also includes an understanding of where we both come from with money. We're bringing
Uh-huh.
two different universes together, and those universes view resources very differently. And so, if you don't have an agreed upon system or a way of how you're going to approach the resources in your relationship, then Politicking is just a natural outcome. And then other areas of relationship that struggle with that same lack of communication are going to show up when it comes to anything financially related, because that's what you're often dealing with on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis.
That's cool. Any couples that you've worked at or any stories you can share about where one tended not to be very honest or forthright with things, maybe at the beginning, and how that's affected their marriage, and then maybe how you help them learn to be more honest?
100%. There's a couple that I was thinking about. She didn't trust her husband with money. And so
Mhm,
justified that she, and this is not female specific, this is just the situation, right?
mhm,
She felt like he was going to want to spend it if he saw the money. So she was secretly taking money and hiding it away without his knowledge. And they weren't talking about that. And so that was eventually discovered. It's always eventually discovered at some point.
uh-huh.
And
There's a blow up, of course,
there's always a
uh-huh.
blow up. Yep. And when they came to us about that, we talked through a couple things. One, this is betrayal. When you take resource in a marriage, all money is both of yours
Mhm.
unless agreed upon otherwise. It's
That's
not.
that's the foundation piece, right? It's the understanding. Even if one is the primary breadwinner, the other is
Yeah,
not, it's still our money. That's the attitude you need to have.
exactly. There it is our money.
It's a
So
shared resource. Oh, good.
100%. And so, when you realize your spouse has been taking our money without an agreement from us and putting it, there's a sense of betrayal
Uh-huh.
because it's being hid from you. Um, at the same time, what are the reasons behind why she was doing this? Well, she grew up with money that was really scarce. She often felt scarce around money. There wasn't a lot of money all the time. So security was really important to her. And when her
Mhm.
husband would always want to spend the money, that that need of security was more important to her than the trust and communication with her husband about it. Or she just didn't know
Right.
how to communicate about it.
So she'd see her husband spend money maybe on, a sandwich or something, right? Like, or a cup of coffee, whatever it might be, and her alarm bells in her head go off like, "Uh-oh, like, that represents my security, and I'm losing control of this. I'm losing control of me."
Exactly. So her natural inclination is to hide it, is to take it and hide it. Because if I
Mhm.
take it and hide it, I have control, I'm secure, and he can't spend it. So what do you do in that situation? Well, just talking about those two things and helping both parties realize the other person's side helps a lot. And being able to communicate about that. And then second, it's helping them have create a system around that of what are we going to do to take care of your security and what are we going to do to make sure you have money to spend that we can both agree on in a way that's going to help us both fill our needs here. And that's what we did. We clarified that for her, she felt had a sense of security with a certain amount of money in a
Mhm.
safe that wasn't
Mhm.
touchable, but now he knows about it, he understands it, and, one of his problems was, "Well, I want that in the bank or an investment earning it money," and we calculated that out, and it's like,
Uh-huh.
well, for a couple $1,000, that's only gonna be maybe 100 to 200, $300 a year. Is it
Uh-huh.
worth it to you to pay 100 to $300 a year for your wife's security? And the answer to that question was yes.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh-huh. When you put it
so
in
we
that
solved
light,
it.
yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
absolutely. I'm gonna do that. Then for her, he needs to have an amount of money as an adult, and so does she, that he can spend every month guilt-free without having to ask permission on whatever he wants. He can save it, he can give it, he can spend it, but it doesn't matter. He could flush it down the toilet and it wouldn't matter. Don't do that, but he could.
It was like
And he needs.
it's like his allowance, no questions asked, he
Yeah,
can spend up to this amount, right. It gives him
exactly.
freedom. Uh-huh.
It gives him freedom to spend, and she knows that, and then it's his job to keep that agreement, to not go above that amount of money. I know there's some of you listening who are like, "Well, I've done that. My spouse goes above that." That's a separate issue. I'm just talking about, this specific couple. So
Right.
for them, that was one of the issues that was overcome, where we now have a system and communication and understanding around this where we can now move forward together and forgive one another and be a team. Do you think that affects intimacy in other relationships when you forgive and build trust? Oh my
Heck
gosh.
yeah. Of course it
Heck yeah.
does. Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Right.
So it's things like this. Her clients talk about continually, you know, sometimes we get too numbers focused. Like, you've paid off X amount of debt, you saved this emergency fund, you've invested this amount. But the
Mhm.
number one repeating thing we hear from our clients is, I've never felt stronger in my relationship. Strong
Yes.
finances equal stronger relationships. And that's the message I hope people are walking away with, is if you want your relationship to get stronger and improve in other areas, maybe you're learning about how to improve things in the bedroom and in sexual intimacy, improving your finances will help with that, because it increases communication and trust and team and this feeling of unity in every other area of your relationship.
That's a good point. As I work with couples about sexual intimacy, sometimes money metaphors help. Like
Mm,
like this idea of money is a shared resource, how are we going to spend it, right? Or the idea of anything that you have a limited resource of which I think it boils down to, the number in your bank account, the money you have, and time. You can't make more time. Sexual intimacy falls into that category of a limited resource because we're limited on time and energy also. So, as
yeah.
a couple, how do you learn how to manage a resource that's shared between the two of you, designed for your happiness and well being? Sometimes it requires a lot of retraining, a lot of rethinking, and new habits to implement. As you help your couples, I want to ask you, Dan, what are some of maybe can you list 2 or 3 attitude shifts that you try to help people have, mindset shifts that you think are fundamental? And we've covered a little bit, right? Like transparency, having a system together. But deeper than that, is it like being frugal is okay or not okay or stingy? Or what are some mindset shifts that really work well with couples for money?
Yeah. We've already talked about a few, like you've mentioned, right? Money's a shared resource. There is no your money and my money unless we have agreed upon that, which most couples should have money they can spend as an individual, but that's agreed upon, right? As a whole, it's a shared resource. Two, I can learn money. It's a skill.
Uh-huh.
Three, getting help as part of money is normal and should be expected.
Uh-huh. Same with sex. Uh-huh. Right?
Yeah, name with
Yep.
sex, exactly.
Yep.
Yes, 100% with sex. These are the 2 areas people don't get help when they struggle with them, right? Um,
Yes.
I think a couple more that just are really impactful. Power of should and how that can have over ourselves. And so should can affect us in 2 ways. One, it's the things I should be doing myself, where I'm telling
Mhm.
myself constantly, I should be, I should be better with money, or my partner should be doing this and they're not. Those deeply impact the way we view ourselves and ultimately our behaviors and how we treat our partner. If you're thinking constantly, my partner should or shouldn't be doing this thing, and they always are doing that thing or not doing that thing, that's just going to build resentment, right? And so, what we got to do with the shoulds is we need to get them out on paper. What are things that you think in your head about yourself or your partner that that you should be doing or they should be doing that you're not, that you constantly are putting yourself in a shame cycle about, where you feel bad because you're not doing this thing you feel like you should be. And then two, what are things that you feel like you are doing that you shouldn't be, or your partner's doing that they shouldn't be, that you're constantly judging them for or judging yourself for. And so it's just helpful to take a piece of paper, write those things down, and then
Mhm.
rewrite. So I here an example. I should be better at not spending so much money.
Mhm.
I and the way to reframe them is writing them in truths, right? So I spend more money than I would like to. I'm learning how to spend more intentionally, and I'm a work in progress. And so it takes the shame out of it and turns it into an action growth mindset focus. My
Gotcha.
partner does X. It makes me feel Y. I haven't communicated that to them. We need to
Uh-huh.
have a discussion about this, things like that. And then
That's really good.
yeah. So the should and shouldn't would be one. The second one that you mentioned that I love talking about is frugal versus cheap. And oftentimes with money, people feel like they need to be, I need to spend as little money as possible to be good with money. And so they end up buying things that are on sale or a good deal just because it was a low price. That's not good money management necessarily. What's the right way is to be frugal. And being frugal is getting clear and intentional on what do you enjoy spending money on? And maybe it's a lot of money, quote unquote, comparatively. But you can intentionally save and plan for that and go buy that thing. As an example, I love Lululemon pants. Um,
Uh-huh.
over
The
over
golf
the years,
pants, so good.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
so good. They're not the cheapest pant out there, and especially when we were younger and didn't have as much money. But I said no to other things that I didn't love as much, that didn't cost as much per se, so I could say heck yes to the things that I really actually loved and cared about. And that can
Uh-huh.
create, you should encourage your partner when they find things that they love. Money can become this joyful thing where we're identifying the things we really care about and we're encouraging and celebrating each other to find those things and to work towards them and celebrate each other when we get them. And it's like, sweet. My wife just bought a shoe rack and set it up. I didn't even know, she used her fund to do that. I didn't even know it. All of a sudden, my shoes are out in the garage. But for her, this is so important because now her entryway is cleared, that
Uh-huh.
she cared about. And so, you know, I can celebrate that, and I'm not stressed that she spent $80 to get this shoe rack because she saved for it, she planned for it, and now we're on the same. I can just be happy, and now everything's more organized for me too. Anyway,
That's
those are
so
two
good.
things that two additional mindset shifts I think that could be really helpful for couples.
That is so good. All right. Let's say you're a couple listening to this episode. You're like, you know what? Maybe we could use a little bit of help. Where would you recommend they go? Or can you tell them a little bit about the services you offer?
100%. Yeah. So, I mean, this is what we do. One of the most powerful things you and your partner can do is sit down with a third party and put all your numbers on a piece of paper just to get the conversation going. And that's the first thing we do for our clients. And without them becoming clients yet, which is people who are interested in taking this next step. If you're still needing to get your partner on board with that, we also have a free budgeting class that can be a really helpful, just to listen to some more of the ways we view things. Sharing this podcast with your partner is a good thing. I think one thing I just drive home here is for money to really work in a marriage, it has to be a team sport. Um,
Hmm.
there's different ways to approach that, and I'm not claiming our way is the only way to do that. But by and large, both people need to have some involvement, understanding, and agreement. Otherwise, there will be resentment, there will be politicking, there will be stress, either on the part of the person who is doing all the management or the person who's not, or both. And you have to be a team in this. And so if you are willing as a team, as a partnership to take a next step, let's come watch our free budgeting class. Come sit down with one of our coaches. We'll get all the numbers on paper. We'd love to work with you. If you are ready, but your partner is not, send this podcast and listen to that. Listen to the budgeting class together. Those would be my recommendations of where to start.
Awesome. Great. And your website?
Our website is Sensei Financial, CENTSEI Financial. Think, karate money teacher with the cent is the CENT at the beginning.
It's very clever. Great. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Dan.
Thank you, Dan. I don't know what your nicknames were in high school. Otherwise, I'd call you some of those because we got a double Dan situation.
I hope you enjoyed this episode and see the connection between financial intimacy, like your ability and courage to talk about money in your relationship, and sexual intimacy, your ability to talk about sexual things in your relationship too. Now, if you like a deeper dive in sexual intimacy in your marriage, you're invited to apply to our Get Your Marriage On program. We only take a handful of applicants each month so that our program is small and focused. But this is a great opportunity to work with me and my team, and we do a deep dive into all things intimacy in your relationship so that you and your spouse can get to your next level so much easier, so much better than what I had to go through. So that's for you. You'll find all those details at getyourmarriageon.com/program. And thank you for listening. Now, it's your turn to go get your marriage on.